And I used to think that it would break down, you know, so I was
But, you know, you do say things as a parent and you don't realise how much it affects a child. I remember my mum, she used to dress me up, put ribbons in my hair all the time, and I didn't like it, and I had patterned tights and everything. I don't know, I must have... But my dad looked at me one day, and he was never a sort of guy to say, you know, you're a beautiful little girl, or I love you, or anything. He was very cold, very distant, and he just looked at me and said, God, what does she look like? And as a little girl, and you remember those things, don't you?
It's a comment, really.
A really throwaway comment. And then I remember being out with my mum once, and she was wheeling my brother along in the pushchair, and he was gorgeous. I hated him, but he was lovely. I don't hate him now. He's a publican. And I remember a friend coming up and looking at my brother and saying, what a gorgeous little boy. And my mum said, just isn't he gorgeous? Little boys are so much nicer than little girls. And I was stood there. And again, it was a throwaway thing, but you remember it, don't you?
Did you ever tell Mum later in life that had affected you?
No. Yes, well, yeah, but I would have done it in a horrible teenage way and said, oh, you said that once, that means
that's why I'm like that.
I
I don't quite know what the sort of latter-day effects have been, but I remember... Well, I do, actually. I have, but I think everybody does. I absolutely have a fear of men crying around me. I just find it that I can't cope. Because I can remember the day that, that I first saw my dad crying. And I was 9 and my sister was 6. And we were going ice skating that morning, and Mum had just lost a baby. She had a stillborn baby. And Dad having to come down when we were expecting Mum coming home with the baby, and Dad having to come down. And I can just remember, I can remember what colours the outfits were and just the difference of that 3 years, how it scarred me. But Debbie can't remember it because she was just like, oh, does that mean we're not going to go skating? Do you know what I mean? Because when you're 6... Also, and this is maybe why I do need therapy, although there's no doubt I do, I used to have this absolute... could not bear seeing my mum, who was really gorgeous. Well, she still is gorgeous, but she was really gorgeous in the sort of late decade that I was born. And she used to wear these sort of, you know, those capri pants, those gorgeous sort of capri pants, and lovely tops and everything, and wore her hair up a lot. And I used to be hysterical if she wore either trousers or her hair up. So you can imagine on a day when she had trousers and her hair up, I was nearly to be stretched out.
Oh my God.
And I just don't know why.
Well, when did you first know that your dad was a cross-dresser? Who was it, do you think?
It might have been my dad wearing his hair up.
And that's why
you know something? That's really interesting you say that, because I have just always seen my dad dressed as a woman.
There you are.
So as a child...
you thought he was the one with the capri pants on?
That may be it. I can't remember the moment when I went in and went, oh, Dad's become Raquel. He just always was some days.
See, now I'll tell you my one. My one was when I was at school and I was 7 and a half, and I remember exactly. I was in the playground and all the other kids were about 6. About 5 and a half, 6. And there was a tree in the playground with a hole in, and we all used to get in it and stand in it. And there was one day that I went up and they were all in it. They went, go away. You're 7 and a half now. You're far too old. And that's where I get my aging problem from. Complex, you see.
Do you know, why don't you name them, shame them now on the telly, Sherrie?
Well, I'm going to find a tree with a hole in first and get in it.
And don't let them in.
That'll show them when
don't let them in. Right, now then, we're going to talk swimming now, which is an important skill in every childhood. I never learnt properly, and that's the one thing that the ability to swim is vital, really. And our next guest has devoted his life to the sport. He reached the pinnacle of his professional career, becoming the Olympic gold medal winner at the 1980 Moscow Games. And since retiring at just 23, he's continued to provide support to budding young swimmers. He's now keen to get the rest of Britain back into the pool. Please welcome Duncan Goodhew. Hi, lovely to meet you. I remember growing up with you. It's really nice. No, you know, growing up and seeing Duncan and all his achievements. I wish he'd taught me to swim, because I still can't swim.
Well, it's never too late.
Do you think it's too late? Because my dad can't either.
It's fantastic when you get to learn how to swim. When my daughter touched the end, having had just a nose above the surface, the smile was from ear to ear.
It's a great security with the day your kids can swim as well, isn't it?
Yeah, but she said, France at last. And of course, the longer you leave it, the bigger the France at last moment is.
Yeah.
So it's brilliant.
But the better you can enjoy your holidays as well if your children can swim, because you can let them go off and not have to be watching them.
Well, it really is serious. I mean, 1 in 5 children in this country cannot swim going up to secondary school, which is very serious.
Why is that? I know swimming lessons are really expensive, and lots of schools don't have pools anymore, do
Well, they're
they?
shutting them. There's 2 closed in Wakefield. I mean, we used to, so we've got no swimming pools anymore.
It's tricky, and there are all sorts of issues, and that's what's really exciting. I think we've realised there are issues, and we're looking at how we can really move forward and make sure that every child can swim.
What happened though, Duncan? Because I remember as a kid, you always got on a bus, didn't you? And always went to the local Lido or something.
Did you have to blow up the pyjamas too? You know.
No,
you didn't do it like you dived the brick and went around and then blew up the pyjamas and used them as a float. You were deprived.
Swim properly either.
You never blew up your pyjamas.
I know, I'll have a go when I get back now.
Do they do that in the north, the pyjama blowing thing?
Not anymore. I don't think kids wear bananas.
Did you?
I got me silver. I got me blue first, then me red, then me bronze, then me. Yeah, my dad taught me to swim.
Great fun.
Yeah. I remember that. That's when I wasn't swimming. I made up every excuse in the book not to go swimming. I really, really regret that now. But you're involved in this British swimming campaign now, aren't you? And what's that about, Duncan?
Well, I think a lot of people have got together and made a real effort to bring swimming back into the forefront. And British Gas has just come in as a sponsor. And it's a huge sponsorship, the biggest, I think, in the world. And it's not just about, the gold medals and more medals. It's about how we can get kids into the pool and healthy. And also it's about our communities, because, of course, a swimming pool's like a village hall to us. It's right in the centre of our communities. And what's really important is if you ask people who don't exercise what exercise they'd like to do, the vast majority over any other sport, they'll say swimming.
Yes. 400 calories an hour is burned off.
People growing up when they go swimming's the best form of exercise because it's using. Do you think it is the best form of overall exercise?
Absolutely. Over a lifetime, there's no doubt about it. It burns an enormous amount of calories. But the most important thing is it doesn't wear your body, and you're lying down, it massages yourself into good health. Great for suppleness.
But there should be.
By goodness me, it feels great, doesn't it?
But there should be more pools. I mean, I can't understand what happened to schools. Why swimming stopped? Like tennis and sports and things. And all this. Why did swimming stop? Why wasn't it on the curriculum?
I think it was a best kept secret. It's something that we did. Very historically, it was something Dad took kids down on a Saturday morning, gave Mum a break. I know it's very cliche, but that's what really happened. And every school used to do it. And I think we just it was taken for granted. And a few years ago, I think everybody woke up and said, well, it's like a best kept secret, which we haven't really invested in properly and haven't backed. And now we're started to, which is great.
And we're talking about childhood, Duncan, and we were talking earlier on, actually, about things that happened in our childhood that have perhaps shaped us as adults. Obviously, quite a few things happened in your childhood, didn't they?
I was absolutely useless. Then I found I was dyslexic. I was asked to read in a class, and that really changed my life.
How old were you? 13?
Well, when I first was asked to read, I was about 8 years old, and when I couldn't, the class laughed at me. And I think what that gave me was a sense of what it's like to be not very good at something. And when the swimming came along, guess what? I grabbed it.
And that was your way of being really good at something to show them.
Yeah, well, it was just a way of building my confidence. I suppose really just reshaping my life. I knew if I didn't do something, that I was not going to enjoy my life very much. And then the boulders came along, which was that was quite interesting.
And that literally happened overnight, didn't it?
Yeah. I fell from a tree and damaged a nerve in my lip, and it's bizarrely my hair fell out. Really? I can't figure that one out.
Yeah, but all the sexiest men are always bald, aren't they? Every year.
Well, I was a 60s child, so everybody was wearing the rugs on the top, so I was a bit of an oddity at the time. Being about 10, 11 years old. But I think at the end of the day, it gave me something.
Something
I've now...
unique,
But it also, everything...
I haven't turned grey.
No, and everyone knows you. As I say, you're one of the most recognisable figures from my childhood when I used to watch the sport on telly and stuff. But what else does... oh, do you know, I've completely gone round the houses now. No, what I was going to say is you're such a gentle person. And how does that marry up with the competitiveness of what you did? I mean, winning Olympic gold and having to be better than everyone else.
I found it really difficult. I think